Beautiful people, most welcome to the Voice of Evolution. As always, I think many people are very curious about what is going to happen in 2021, as 2020 was just a preparation to waken up the brain to the higher levels of intelligence, sensibility, and becoming really conscious of what your life forces is truly about and how you can change from the inner sanctuary into the outer world and not vice versa, which many are doing, and thus digging into the old garden, the old creations of Eden that no longer exist. So waking up to the mask, to the vaccines, to whatever is being pulled out in society is truly measuring up with your inner mask and unmasking yourself from the constraints of former ways of living, starting with your living light forces and how you feed self from within. If we look at consumerism, if we look at Christmas time, there is not really a level of respect, integrity, and a high vibration that will get you there. Because if I walk into any supermarket on the planet, then I would truly say 90% of what is being presented is just as toxic as the mask. So toxins and eliminating toxic thought forms, mentality, brainwaves, psychotic degrees, and many are going very insane on the planet due to digging into the matrix or the killing fields. And so the monsters of the universe will truly still try to pick up your consciousness and infuse that like with a ship of dark forces as much as they can. As unless if you install in your home the true meaning of Christmas, crystalline light, and creating a crystalline lighthouse through the installment of a grid through which no dark force can really flow through, then you create your own security far beyond the mask, the matrix, or the lower field of injections. So inject yourself with as much light as you can, and at least create a solid, strong and firm foundation. And that is the true meaning of crystalline lights that moves with the first 12 universal light degrees, or the new Milky Way, the new solar system, moving with the celestial vibrations all the way into the universal vibrations and grounding what the universe will bring true. Now, how can we equate that to Christmas and Christlight? That is certainly not cutting off trees and pulling some beautiful lights into a tree that has been cut off. That is not crystalline light. That is killing the ecosystem. That is certainly not putting a plastic tree in your house, because plastic does never equate to crystalline light, and that is truth. Going for truth in the first place, I would suggest just burn some candle lights and start working self into the crystalline fields of consciousness and expansion, starting with the highest level of expansion through the spiritual body, when you are moving your light degrees or many electronic bodies around the physical into that degree of light. And that is where crystalline Christ light starts off in the celestial vibration, because no body, no injection can hit you, or no vaccine if you want, or no mask. Because if you go all the way, at least celestial, into the celestial vortexes, then you have done the work of eliminating toxins from the brain, toxins from the body, such as your food intake. And it is not such a big deal into moving vegan. It's a far more bigger deal into moving into divine will versus free will, and that is the point where most people get stuck. In free will, you have nothing at all. You have the soul syndrome, which many people do not want to hear as of after 20 years even. They just stick to soul camps, soul degrees of light, soul everything, so the broken veins of the old solar system, and thus no forward movement. Moving into the new solar system, the new Milky Way, and loading your original sun stream with the great central moon vibration, that kicks your fire into the phoenix beyond the mud of the mask. And so yes, it takes work to get out of that. But the good news is, when willing to move vegan, actually that is so easy to do when moving with a light body and moving your degrees in light up through your own channel, through the courses I eventually give, or I have been putting out. I have this 9 days complete transition into crystalline lights with more than 20 MP3s with guided alignments and moving your motor mechanics of your heart into the vibration of at least living light or living light air, because in the matrix or in the soul syndrome you cannot breathe clear air. And reason why, when the living forces of your air mechanics, the air that you breathe, has been cut off or lives in a matrix of density, then you can hardly breathe, right? Most people, when they breathe, they go up, they breathe, and it's finished after 1 or 2 seconds, so they cannot reach every beautiful cell in the body ready to transmute in a trillion light parts, because that is what light body is about. So 2021 is truly going to push and pull you into the spiritual alignment, spiritual embodiment, light degrees, defined by the divine, and not the other way around. So movement into divine will is truly imperative, because the energies are going to be so strong. You're going to be willing to remove the mask from yourself, remove everything that is resistance, which will persist anyways, as we know. So if you resist it, many people will not be able to withstand the higher level of energies cutting down the cords of densities. And it is not like looking in the air and waiting for some planet or some energies to get you there. You need to do the work, as always. So the alignments coming through, especially around the solstice, and the movement of the really detailed way, which is granite through Saturn, and the higher vibrations, Arcturus, is moving your arc consciousness actually into the measures of new technology, new inventions, because it's moving into the Aquarian stages, and thus the Aquarian golden age is truly opening up worldwide for those who do the work. Those who are still vibrating on these lower degrees and do not feel the motors running into every cell in your feet, in your hands, and moving the vibrations going up and down like this when in meditation, then there's work to do. That's all there is to it. So I would strongly suggest to either download your alignments through your source or eventually go through these courses. I have this 15 weeks online moving into the initiation of the eternal vibration at all times. So the removal of anything that was the mask actually, or at least the 9 days through which you can align the incoming 6 months, because they're going to be crucial in 21. And as also Jupiter and the Galilean moons moving along the green light go, or the new production lines, the new services moving in. So I got redirected to truly start working with the ecological system, bringing through the repair of the broken tectonic plates, and truly having that vision of opening up new flower gardens, new herbal kingdoms, new food on the planet, and assisting humanity in many different countries to learn them or to teach them how to merge truly with the organic composition of the earth and reorganize first the levels or the broken veins or everything that fragmented soul consciousness, and bringing in the merger into unifying every light part in the body first, and then we can merge with what needs to be repaired on the planet, and so the soil and the entire organism that should enable the soil in many places in the earth, in many remote places especially, that have still kept the original ground floor. Then you feel that zipping through your feet, and the information zips through like a wildflower actually. So that is where my passion goes, into bringing light embodiment, and thus consciousness, universal consciousness, back on the planet, and more working like with biologists, scientists, and ecologists. So that is where my passion goes now, and so merging my scientific outlet with their knowledge, and bringing through smaller projects in order to bring that understanding as well to people, in a way to assist them to upload a bigger vision, and thus automatically, of course, when aligning to new perspective ley lines and listening to the elements and what the elements bring through in co-creation, then we can load our own elements. So I've been talking about the elements a lot in my former videos, how important it is to first restore the water in the body, which brings through that universal brain, and so you start to think on the higher levels of consciousness, and you leave behind the Google machine. So because that is exactly the tracking into soul and lower degrees of mentality that breaks many people down. And so there is actually an easy step-by-step leveling up into light body, you know, moving with that light vehicle. And if you install that crystalline grid. I have it all there in the description box, and it's so beautiful. These 9 days complete transition into divine will, the spiritual body, the eternal healer, moving out of the old solar system. I mean, all these packages in your solar center that keep on culminating and turning and have no way to go. So you can finally release that. And when you work your sun stream through, which is one of the 12 ways in the Milky Way, and that is very unique to every individual, you just blow through every dual cord there is on the planet, and so you can remove anything that is the mask. And so I've been doing it in my own city, and when your vibration matches these crystalline grids in your home and you really work with them on an everyday level, then in the end you wear them. And wearing a crystalline grid and putting that out, or walking around with that grid, means you can ground that and bring through the change that is the necessity for 21. Regarding the health of the planet, the health of the ecosystem, the health of our sacred gardens, and that is actually sacred ecology. So that it actually demands a lot of knowledge, higher levels of intelligence, which is, yeah, the automatic, right? And so we can work our vibration towards that. Isn't that something? Every time I want to bring out a video, half the sun comes in and just shines for a few minutes. It's like speaking to me directly as I load the great central sun vibrations and moving with the great central moon frequency and leveling that out. That works with all the water stations. So that is, I would strongly suggest to go back to the older videos I've been putting out for the last 6 months, I guess, and how important it is to transition the water in the body, and that is crystallizing your consciousness. Because like I said in my video of last week, actually, I think, is crystallization. So I'm wearing a turquoise, that very light, beautiful turquoise, which is Australian. The Australian one goes back in the little brain, so the cerebellum in the back of our head, and has the capacity to bring to high level divine will calculation. So the beauty of a calculation that can be just a single number, a triangular number, it can come with geometry, but that also could eliminate the low degrees in our hormonal system, or actually the soul hormone that needs to level up into the spiritual hormonal sections of the divine, through which we can understand what the soil needs in order to flourish back into healthy vegetables, into healthy herbs, fruits, like anything. And so you will see, when you level up in crystalline embodiment, it is exactly moving from the breath of your source into the breath of light, into the breath, the omni breath, and up. So the more you move your breath up and start merging your breath with the water. Remember, you were born as an embryo in water and air. That was all that you had. And crystallizing water with air becomes a crystal, right? And thus the term Christ Light, which the entity formerly known as Jesus Christ's light has moved into Archangel Zachary, and thus they move up all of the time. Many teams of the former teams going back to the 12 tribes of Israel are grounding and assisting the transition. And so the most important opening, which I will bring to next week, is the level of how you can move into the stations of the eye in the sky. So if the eyes are blurry and don't see clearly, they see on a confused level in the soul. The soul has always confusion, has always repetition. If we look at anything being put out, I'm not judging or having an opinion about anything, but if I look, for example, at as an observation on YouTube, and I take the timeline of one decade, like 10 years, and I see the same people repeating the same stuff for 10 years and not moving forward. Recycling, 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 and not moving that consciousness up into something really interesting. Doesn't mean there is some good channels and stuff, and I love people. It is just, you know, an observation that shows how much we are still living the mask. Well, we all want to move out of it. Well, then we need to peel it off until we become crystalline light vibrations. And those 21 is all about crystallizing the water within, becoming a crystal waves and many crystalline waves until we hit the technology beyond the dual codes or 0101 on which computers and data has been built right now. So we're moving into the triangular stations, and that is going to go very, very fast. So for those who are inventors and IT people and stuff like that, they have great opportunities ahead of them, because I think computers, no matter your browser and everything, are moving very, very slow, and especially computer programs. Yes, it all moves together. So it's up to us. And if you know how to do it, then go ahead, work on it every day and start crystallizing the water, start upgrading your breathing system, start clearing your lungs, especially moving the power of the word back. There's still like billions, more than 90% on the planet not keeping their word. And that is all to do with the lightning wall of power stationing in the throat center and the purity of vibration. So when doing the work of purification, crystallization, moving the breathing system up, the water component, moving along with the soil, and you know, feeling the zippers and messaging system of ecology through your feet, all the way into your brain, when the water power is open, then you can speak truth on the higher levels and digest it and do the work what it takes. So I witness a lot of people also telling me like, hey Nick, I'm just too lazy to do the work. Okay, I understand. I have been there 20 years ago as well. Like, but then there's always a start. And when the start point in loading the spiritual vibrations and body and crystallizations and working with crystals is big fun, then you remove actually everything that is laziness, because you start instead to become very, very curious about what will happen next. And so I have in this 9 days as well, which actually expand into 90 days, which expand into 3 times 90 days or 6 times 90 days, and just calculate and calculate. It doesn't even matter, but at least you can apply and expand and learn about all the integrations given there for the next incoming 6 months, which is the entire bridge into the Aquarian age. And a bridge can be equated to arc consciousness. So I think it's important to teach as well arc light consciousness and how to align to that, and working with Arcturus, and how that can be integrated in the body, communicated actually with the celestial universal bodies. So these motor mechanisms with the new solar system, new celestial and universal, is what the universe is bringing through. And it's not about just saying like Jupiter is moving there, Aquarius up there, Pluto in some other area. It's the alignment to which you were born that truly matters a lot. So, and also knowing what color vibration and spiritual numerology comes through your vibration. And yeah, so there's so much to learn about it, especially here with the movement. Not so many people like the movement with Saturn into Arcturus, into the granite dragon way, which is very potent because it brings through details, and listening to details matters more than listening to the nonsense being put out so massively these days, and people would just cling on onto anything as long as you get something for free. Just click the button and there it goes into the soul syndrome, right? Because if we have valuable stuff to give to people, that is never for free, because most people like myself, we have to work hours and hours and days and months to just get sometimes one true alignment through. So it is about evaluating self, to which you can give more worth and value through alignments that bring you into your new life stream in 21, which is really the most important thing. Because let's say in present day, living in the know, you need to know how to do that. Living in the know and also working, let's say, with languages of light are very important, because languages can be brought back to the power of the word and how to move that in. So the English language is very important. Moving through the Hebrew alphabet and the Christ light vibrations that come through Yod Vav He and the Omni antenna, or the Alpha Omega, is a very, very high level vibration, and knowing how to work with it, that is actually big fun. So as I'm talking, yeah, I have the idea to eventually bring that through. And because if you know what kind of color vibration stations in each letter, you can actually compose new words. And if you know what color vibration are within the letters of every word, then you have your light flames going. Why? Because you can just channel the word that eventually transitions, let's say, an addiction, a level of fear, and just zip that out to the power of the word. So I'm just giving you some examples, and so that you can yeah, get back into your passion, or eventually align to it yourself. So on the other hand, I have that book like Instant Manifestation through the ancient ancestral tracks, really, in which you can truly write out your new story for 21. And the alignments are there, at least into the spiritual body as well in the book. So that's a great gift to give to people, and so they have some fun, because it equates to crystalline Christ light and thus Christmas, and making people work their way through into their dream station and aligning back into these peaceful vibrations in which you can put out ideas, rewrite them, polish them, and have that new vision for you of how you will be living, with whom you will interact, how you visualize your embodiment, what needs to leave. So everything, if you write it out, and so I assist a lot in the book. It's fun to do. I did it even for myself. So, and you work with the alignments I have written out in that book, and you work your magic through magical pentagrams, and just run the pentagram for instant manifestations through the spine. That is truly a beautiful gift to give people with this Christmas time around. So here also I have this deeper meaning with my book, the I Am faculty. So the I Am presentation is actually your Christ light bodies, with all moving actually with the solar celestial universal system. So with all 144 levels of consciousness to integrate, which I made from my art actually, and my vibration, my interest, my passion for the soil, the repair of the soil, the ecological system, and everything that broke us so much over the past decades. And it was actually after I designed so much, I could see that I was actually designing like water, earth, air, so all the elements along the animal kingdom. And so, as if it didn't trigger me, that is my direction from the divine. So pulling out a card every day, getting your directions. I could do that right now. Like, I never prepare any video. It just comes through my brain. And so, yeah, I just take my iPhone and just start doing that. I have my cards here. So let's pull a card, okay? And see what comes through. And yeah, I love that vibration. The Celtic knot and the Book of Celt, and you see the sword, the holy, the rod of power actually it is, the white lightning bolt moving through all of these cards. So very, very important. So, oh my God. I am bird wisdom. The ley line fusion, as I said, like bird wisdom, I've got here, I don't know if you can see it, it's birds, to a bird through every chakra actually. I love that design. And we are actually living the ley line fusion of actually everything that broke. So many people are talking about Egypt and everything, and how these ley line broke up, and how still some remain, but it's actually the tectonic plates that truly need a high level of repair coming through. So yeah, and that is so important to move into. Remember that the bird, I am bird wisdom, it is so important. You see, I work so much with colors all of the time because I am a color girl. I became a color girl while working at least with the 22 first ways of creation. And so, hang on 1 minute. I'm gonna read what it says. I'm bird wisdom, which is card 48. And you know what my cards actually do, it brings you to a higher level of awareness and brings you into opening up to your universal consciousness, makes you think. And when something makes you think, you can move forward. So that's so important. And yeah, I think like many of us want to move forward. And as I said before, the laziness of doing the work gets stuck. But then again, if at least we could do the smaller work and knowing how to work with these first vibrational ways and just pick out one way or listen what comes to you when drinking your coffee in the morning or whatever you have, and just tell the universe you want to have some passion with creation, aligning back to your source that has been fragmented. Your alignment to your spirit has been fragmented. Your alignment to your spark has been fragmented. So these three I's, source, spark, spirits, SSS, is your SOS component back into the divine levels of creation. So here, with every card, I also have 3 I am integrations or mantras, and so I'm allowing the flow of new business ley lines 24/7. I'm flowing one with my original team. I am opening my bird's eye view. So here you have 3 mantras you can just repeat during the day and see what fuses with your body. That is how easy my light cards work, or my oracle cards or whatever. So it's actually this artwork actually represents the chakra system with the kingdoms of bird energy wheels and free flow expression of new wisdom into each chakra wheel. So the white side of the painting represents how energy fields move up the ladder of ascension and higher dimensional capacities being facilitated through the orange ray, and thus unlimited potential. How strong is the orange ray? And the wheels of light I see coming through, actually that is happening with the big transition at the end of the year. I think like 30th, 31 of December, and that new moon vibration that comes through the orange ray. And so we need this, actually design shows how energy wheels or chakra systems can move into liquid ley lines, and yeah, that allow the body to flow actually into original content. So light body parts move into light waves, and that is reason for the installment, the integration of a light spiritual embodiment and its multiple architectural construction along the calculations. You see how much this flows in synchrone. When I just pull a card, it just flows with everything I've been saying. So the mathematics in the brain open up the higher designs of the origin of yourself. So an easy way is also getting new ideas just by looking at this card and having it with you all day while repeating the mantras. It brings true new ideas. So that is the book, The I Am Faculty. And new ideas are needed multiple ways to get a new fascination with wisdom, which is quite a study in itself, of course. And wings, you know, the bird wings are actually universal freedom symbols, and moving into the new perspective, as I said as well, I guess, in the video. So I love the synchronicity and flowing into the acceptance of now and everything that is playing out. That will allow you actually to polish past procedures and the burdens of the past, as well as moving into the fast lanes of liberation. So here I will definitely work with the bird wisdom. You know, I have a bird oral friend. I have the black raven kingdom, which once upon a time I saw them opening black wings and showing me actually in the Australian continent what needed the repair, but that needed to go all the way there, feel the vibrations all the way on that plateau, and do the work I was guided to do. So a bird wisdom always elevates consciousness. It's very subtle sometimes, yet so direct, and because it keeps on flying from one space, right, into another space. And so until you free yourself from the constraints of old societal avenues, and that is truly what 21 is about. You create actually a new vision of how would like to view society and the beauty of living with a team in a crystalline environment. So a bird also gives you a new outlook on certain situations, and if you ask for a bird friend in meditation, then you will definitely see one of these species showing up. So I would strongly recommend to truly connect with it, ask how to connect better, gather some information through the Google machine what the spiritual avenue of that particular bird is, and get your own information. Open your channel, ask to open your channel to the higher levels. Like, we all need to unify. Nobody is better than the other. You know, we need to live on equal grounds, and so everybody is so unique, has so many specialties, and that is what this age is about. So yeah, it may be interesting to get, the oral wisdom that provides a lot of insight. An eagle would speak actually direct when needing to see higher perspectives of pride, of mastery, of freedom. And so a falcon would guide you into the true power of how to take action. A cardinal rather teaches you sacred silence within the sound of silence. So I have at least like, I could read on and on, but you know, there's a lot of information. It's a great gift for these crystalline times, because it talks about crystalline times and reconnecting with the animal kingdom and ecology, as every card I have in this deck actually works with one element at least. And so these cards have the capacity to move you forward at the speed of light, actually. When just working with one card a day, putting yourself in spiritual light embodiment and crystalline body, then there is no way anybody can stop you, because there's so much information in them, there's so much direction, there is spiritual I am mantras in them. So each card has at least 3 mantras to direct you or to create your own. So yes, that is what I truly have for you around Christmas time and this week. And so yeah, Let's just enjoy our time together. Let's converse. Let me know what you are at. And please share my videos if you like my voice, if you like my content. And thank you so much for your support, liking, subscribing, and sharing.